the XFX nForce 780i SLI motherboard, and there it is. Look at it. There it is right there. All right, what do you guys think of it?
It's great.
All right, you guys are very enthusiastic. I'm in a room full of non-gamers. What do you think they're going to think of it? This thing is, well, it's the new top-of-the-line NVIDIA motherboard. Let's talk about what's going on with this one. It's the XFX version. It's almost identical to the stock NVIDIA version, which is not a bad thing because it's fast. 1333 frontside bus. Works with the new Intel CPUs all the way up to all the quad cores. It even works with the, it'll work with the Celeron. I don't even know why I even mentioned that. Why did I say that?
Who uses Celeron?
Who on the earth is going to put a Celeron on this thing? If you put a Celeron on this thing, send me your address. I will come to your house and hug you because you need a hug. You're probably a sad person. That's what I'll do. All right. Also, up here is the memory DDR2. Utilize 800 megahertz DDR2 right here as well. And while I'm talking, let's just take a look at the aesthetics, because this motherboard is really nice to look at. Now, I know it doesn't mean anything for speed. It's already got the speed. That's in the bank, fellas. It's already there. Now, on top of that, we have the large cooling unit right here. Now, take a look at this. They've included this in the box. This is nice. A little fan there, and that snaps on, so you get even better cooling. That's right. If you want to do some overclocking, well, just snap that onto the north bridge, and then you can overclock to your heart's intent. I'm going to take it off right now, but that's nice that they've included that in the box. I would have probably just included it already snapped on, because everyone's going to snap it on first thing when they're installing this in their system. That's what I'm going to do first. Snap it right on there. Now we're going to bring you guys some tests. We already got some tests with the 3 graphics cards on this thing. I'll show you those in a second too. First off, let's go through the different ins and outs on the board. Up here at the top again, there are the RAM slots, and it does use DDR2, 800 megahertz. It can use up to 8 gigabytes in a 64-bit operating system. Only about 3 is recognized in the 32-bit OS. All right, there's your SATA ports. We got 4 of them right there, and they're out of the way of the graphics cards. They're just behind where, if you look at the back there, just behind where the graphics card would be, so it's not going to get covered by that. And then there's a couple more SATA ports, and they're right here on the back. Let me flip it around there so you can see it. They're out of the way of the graphics cards, and there's those 3 nasty 16-speed PCI Express 2.0 slots. Look at those. Absolutely nasty. So out of the way, that's nice. And speaking of the slots, let's take a look at them. Now we have PCI, we have a couple of those, so if you want to install a sound card or something like that, provided you haven't covered all your slots with giant graphics cards, you can install a sound card, maybe a physics card, or something like that. Now again, 3 16-speed PCI Express slots, and this thing supports all 3 of these with graphics cards out of the box. Tri-SLI out of the box. So you can install 3 8800 Ultras, and then, well, you have to mortgage your house. All right, there's 1-speed PCI Express right there as well. Flip it around, take a look at the back. Here we have dual gigabit Ethernet. There's 4 USB 2.0 ports right here. We have 7.1 channel surround sound. It's Realtek. Right here we have the SP diff. That's for surround sound as well. We have 2 more of the USB 2.0 ports, FireWire, and PS2 for your mouse and keyboard. Now let me talk about something else that is unique with it, besides the fact that it has Tri-SLI, and I'll give you some benchmarks on that in a second. It also has something called ESA, that's Enthusiast System Architecture. Now what does that mean? Well, it's an entirely new idea, an entirely new, what's entirely new? What this does is it basically, all the new devices that are coming out, a lot of the power supplies, a lot of the water cooling devices, they're going to be ESA enabled. And what that does is that allows you to monitor everything from within your operating system. So, for instance, if you've got something that's maybe a fan or a water cooling system, as long as it's ESA, this system will actually monitor that. And you can monitor inside your game, your graphics card will be monitored, the speed of the fans, and you can adjust it. So if you see that one part of your system is a little hot, maybe your power supply is running hot, you can adjust the fan speed on the fly. That's really handy, and also this helps for troubleshooting. Now, here's the way it works. If something goes bad and you turn on your system, you're getting ready to load up your game, it's halfway there, it's dead. What happened? I don't know. Well, you have to start taking out all the different components and figuring out what's wrong. Well, with the new components that are ESA enabled, it'll just look at the components, you run a test, and it'll say like, oh, the power supply failed the test, it's messed up. So it really is going to reduce a lot of time there, reduce a lot of stress, and it'll give you way more control than ever before. Now the BIOS, speaking of control, the BIOS on this, it's very similar to the 680i BIOS. This board is like this much faster than the 680i. There's not much difference in speed other than the fact that the PCI is PCI Express 2.0, but it gives you all the abilities to change the frequency, change the multiplier. You can even change the RAM timings and that sort of thing. You do that all in the BIOS, and also with some NVIDIA software, you can do it inside the operating system. So that's nice as well. Now, the last thing I want to do before I close this, I want to give you guys some benchmarks of how fast this thing runs with 1, 2, and 3 graphics cards. That's what a lot of people are picking this up for the Tri-SLI. All right, let's talk about Crysis. How does it run with one card? Well, on 1920 by 1200, 2 times anti-aliasing, and everything turned up to high, it gets 16 frames per second. That's on 1920 by 1200, so that's a slideshow with one graphics card. That's an 8800 Ultra. Now with 2 of the 8800 Ultras, it gets 27.52, so it's about in the playable range. That 30 frames per second is usually where I try to keep it, and that's 1920 by 1200. That's insane. Now with 3 8800 Ultras, you're getting 36.86 frames per second. So, you see, you do get a jump in speed there, a very good jump in speed. And if you want to turn it down maybe to a widescreen resolution, like I play mine at 1680 by 1050, you're going to get 44.33 frames per second with 3 graphics cards. Again, you'll probably have to mortgage your house, but maybe it'll be worth it. One more game, just to give you a different point of reference. Company of Heroes, running at 1920 by 1200 with the GeForce 8800 Ultra and SLI. This is 2 of them. It gets 74.5 frames per second. With 3 of these things, 93.2. So there's the jump between 2 graphics cards and 3 like you can use in this. And if you want to compare it to Crossfire, we'll compare it to Crossfire. 2 of the Radeon HD 3870s and the exact same configured system with a similar motherboard, they get 34 frames a second. So you can see that this thing is where it's at for gaming. It's insane. It's the XFX, again, 1333 front side bus. It's a monster. It's a 780i. And is anything else I need to say about this? You think I've covered it all, Randy? We've covered it. So if you guys have any questions, click on Q&A. If not, go ahead and pick one up, put it in your system, and smile. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to smile. For more information on the XFX nForce 780i SLI motherboard, go to Tiger Direct and type P450-9114 into the search box. Or call us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 800-800-8300. It's alive! It's alive!